What's going on, everyone? So I wasn't going to talk about this, but since it went viral, I have no choice. My hands are tied, right? Let's talk about the Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James situation, right? So LeBron James, for those that don't know, I don't know how you wouldn't know at this point, but for those that don't know, we'll run through it real quick. LeBron James confronted Stephen A. Smith about certain comments that he had, basically told him, keep my son's name out your mouth, and pulled a Will Smith outside of like smacking him, which that would have been something, right? But nonetheless, right, basically said, hey, like, chill it, cool down, right? And we found out through a conversation with Richard Jefferson what LeBron really had a frustration with, right? LeBron says, hey, I don't care. Like, you say whatever you want about me, you say whatever you want. Like, he understands his son is an NBA player. There's going to be critiques on that. LeBron's problem was what Stephen A. Smith had to say about him as a father, right? And Stephen A. Smith is now on this like campaign for a guy that didn't want to talk about it originally. He's sure going on a campaign tour, right? He's sure going off on all these, like, he supposedly didn't even want to mention it, but it went viral. Now he's doing all these podcasts and all these other things talking about it, right? When you could have just addressed it and been done. All of a sudden he has a lot to say, but here's my problem. He's missing the point, right? Everyone else has talked about Bronny James in a negative light, or most people have talked about Bronny James in a negative light. I've actually been a big defender of Bronny James, but a lot of people, from content creators to, these talk shows and all that stuff, have had a negative reaction to Bronny James and nepotism and all this other stuff, which I think is just silly, right? Like, people forget, Bronny James was a top recruit. He was ranked 20th before the cardiac arrest and all that stuff, and he's killing it in the G League. Like, he is better than the G League, right? Which I think is funny. Everyone just acts like he's only in the NBA because LeBron. Other teams wanted to draft him, even without LeBron going there, right? Like, so it wasn't just that. Did LeBron push his way or push Bronny's way to the Lakers? Yes, absolutely. Is Bronny James a Laker because LeBron? Absolutely. But Bronny James was going to be in the NBA regardless. And it had nothing to do with LeBron going on campaign tours and stuff like that. Did he overhype his son? Sure. But that's what a father is supposed to do. People praise LeVar Ball for just talking out of pocket and being like, the stuff that LeVar Ball said was crazy. But everyone's like, man, what a good father. Had his 3 sons in the NBA and all that stuff. But LeBron James is this menace, right? Like, it's silly. It's such a silly conversation. LeBron had nothing to say to anyone else except for Stephen A. Smith. The point that Stephen A. Smith keeps missing and keeps brushing over, he keeps talking, I wasn't talking about show, talk about you. But you weren't talking about him in a basketball sense. You were talking about him as a father, right? Michael Jordan's kid can't keep white substances out of his nose and getting arrested. Bronny's kids have never been in trouble. His kid is in the NBA. His other kid's probably going to be in the NBA. LeBron James has never had any type of, like, people have dedicated their entire lives. Like, say whatever you want about LeBron James in the GOAT debate and all that other stuff. Whatever you want. The guy has been nothing but a great family man, an excellent father, an excellent role model, in a time where media and attention is higher than it's ever been. You have literal companies and reporters and people that want nothing more than to find dirt on LeBron James. And whatever you feel, people, oh, he's on PEDs, he's on that stuff. Well, guess what? Nobody's been able to prove it. And people have literally dedicated their lives to try to tear this man down. And everybody has failed. Say what you want. Even Michael Jordan had scandals. The people still to this day believe he retired the first time because the NBA forced him to because of his issues, right? Like, almost most stars, Kobe, all these guys had issues, had baggage, right? Again, comes with it. These are people. These are humans. People make mistakes. People, you have a lot of just weight on your shoulders as these professional athletes. LeBron has been as clean cut and dry as he can. His kids have been as clean cut and dry as they can, right? Like, there's a level of just appreciation for, like I said, however you feel about LeBron, the player, you can't deny. The guy is an excellent role model for kids coming up. He's an excellent face of the league, arguably the best ever. In my opinion, he is the best. I'm not talking, I believe he's the best player ever also. I've said that numerous times. You talk about just pure basketball, right? He's the best basketball player ever. You want to add in all these other little nuance things and stuff like that. It all gets opinion based. But if you're talking about who, like, he's a 6'9", 250, just do everything player. Like, if you were to build a franchise, right? Championships, all that stuff, those are team accomplishments. Those aren't individual accomplishments, right? But this isn't about the Jordan and LeBron debate. Don't want to get into that. Start getting carried away with it, right? It's about LeBron James. I'm talking about just as the face of the league. It's the greatest we've ever seen as far as the face of the league because he's been so clean cut. He's had no issues, had no scandals, he's had nothing, right? You have to have a level of respect for that, right? He is very big on his family, as he should. He's a father, he's a family man, right? His upbringing, his life growing up, right? You see that he wants to break that chain, which you got to applaud. That is beautiful, right? As a father myself, I know how I would feel if somebody questioned or came after me for my fathering, especially when it's something that is great. Like, can we pause for a second? Like, they're criticizing LeBron James for getting his son into the NBA. Let's say, time out for a second. Let's say LeBron James, let's say Bronny James is an absolute scrub. Let's say LeBron James he'll never amount to being an NBA player. I don't believe that, but let's just say for a second, right? You're criticizing LeBron James for getting his son into the NBA, for making him successful, for putting him in a position to succeed. People want to come up here and scream nepotism. Why? Because you don't have that opportunity? Because you're not somebody that is awarded those opportunities? What do you think the world is based on? It's based on relationships, who your parents are, who you know. Everybody, every successful person in the history of the world have had help at some point. Even LeBron had help and mentors and people that made sure, kept his nose clean, kept him right. Everybody does. CEOs to company people. Like, you start a company, you start a business. You need help. You need people to give you loans and qualify for loans. You need workers. You need whatever. Like, even from a small scale, nobody does anything alone. LeBron James has trainers and dietitians and all this other. To be successful, you have so many components. So LeBron James wants to make his kids successful, and people are criticizing him as a father for that? That's where Stephen A doesn't get it. LeBron doesn't care. LeBron even told Richard Jefferson, I don't care what he says. He can say whatever he wants. Don't question me about being a father. Stephen A said himself, that was a man that came to me as a father. But you didn't look at it as like what I said about him and his parenting and him being a father. He looked at it as like, oh, I criticized his son, so he's coming to me as a father to stop talking about his son. No! Everybody's talking about his son. You don't think he knew everyone would talk about his son? Of course he did. You don't think Bronny knew that everyone was going to talk about him? Of course he did. Do you think these people are stupid? No. Right? Cue the Chris Broussard quote. Right? Like, it's just, or meme at this point, right? Like, it's wild to me. It's wild to me because Stephen A keeps talking and going on these campaigns and has yet to realize and recognize the point. He's not mad that you talked negatively about him. He's not mad that you talk negatively about his son. He's not mad that you stick to the basketball because that's your job. He understands it. It comes with the territory. He gets it. He's mad that you took it away from basketball. And you made it about him as a man and as a father. And in my opinion, right, he had every right to call him out. If you want to talk time and place, sure, right? Was there probably a better time and a better place for that? Sure, right? There's better times and better places for everything, right? Stephen A talks about how, like, all LeBron had to do was call me and I would have came there. Yeah. Like, relax, goofy. Like, LeBron James, if he wanted to get a hold of you, he would have gotten a hold of you, right? But don't you think that LeBron James, the best place for him as a man was probably that moment? Why, Tyler? Why would that be the best time for him as a man? Because LeBron James knows there are a million witnesses right now, right? Like, Again, this man spoke on him as a father, spoke on him as a man. I know people that will do more to you for less, right? If LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith went into a private, quiet room, that might have been a very different situation and a very different conversation, right? Stephen A. Smith can talk all big and puffy and, oh, I would have told LeBron James. If you were locked in a room with LeBron James, you wouldn't have said nothing to him. You would have said, yes, sir, I understand, sir. My apologies, sir. Stop. Stop the tough guy act, right? No one's buying it. No one's believing it. Again, if you're upset with the time and the place for it, sure, I get that. I understand. That was probably not the best time and place, especially, LeBron left the huddle third quarter, right? Probably I will concede that part, that probably wasn't the best time and place to have that conversation for you, Stephen A. For LeBron, it probably was the best because he knew I cannot pop off, right? There are cameras, there are people, there are everything. If I Will Smith this man, right, that is going to be very bad. Guess what LeBron could have done if there wasn't all that stuff there? Imagine what LeBron might have done, especially if let's say Stephen A is right and he would have told LeBron all that stuff. What, you think LeBron's just going to be like, oh, good point, you're right? No, that could have escalated very badly for Stephen A. Smith, right? He can talk big and macho all he wants, right? At the end of the day, LeBron James is 6'9", 250, 3% body fat. That guy is a tank. That dude would have smacked the top off of Stephen A. Smith, right? Stephen A. can act like he wants to smoke. He don't want the smoke, right? He don't want no squabble with LeBron James. Trust me. Nobody does, right? But at the end of the day, I understand from Stephen A.'s perspective that, hey, it wasn't the best time and place. But he keeps talking about, as a man, I would have been able to acknowledge and, apologize and blah, blah, blah. But you haven't. You haven't. You haven't recognized the issue. LeBron isn't mad about the basketball stuff. LeBron is mad because man to man, you called him out as a man and as a father. And what, LeBron's supposed to just let that slide? Would any man let that slide? I wouldn't. Somebody comments and talks about me as a father and me as a man, right? You can say whatever you want to me. I don't care, right? I'm a face on the internet, right? I signed up for this, right? I get all kinds of crazy comments. But I know how I am as a man. I know how I am as a father, right? And I'm not talking about some random troll, right? Obviously. I'm talking about we on the street and you hey, oh, you're a shitty father. Hey, we're gonna have some conversations. We're gonna have some more. What do you think LeBron's thinking? Stephen A. Smith, right? He's not just some random troll on the internet, right? LeBron went up to him and did what he's supposed to do as a man and as a father. He corrected that. LeBron James didn't do that in the middle of a game for any other reason than to protect Stephen A. Smith. He was protecting Stephen A. Smith because if Stephen A. Smith got what he says he wanted, it would have been a very different conversation. So Stephen A. Smith should be thanking LeBron rather than talking negative, talking all this noise about LeBron, because LeBron spared him, in my opinion. But those are my thoughts. Those are my opinions. And as always, I pass the question on you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle. However you feel. Whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.